What's going on with Bitcoin as we approach the end of the year? At Crypto Simulation Theory, we've been bullish on Bitcoin since the middle of the summer, in fact, saying that it would very likely break $100,000 by the end of the year, and it's done just that. I am the Gaussian Snake. This is not financial advice. Let's go ahead and get started. As we predicted on this channel, we imagined Bitcoin would attempt to break the 1.272 Fib. We were unsure if it would actually just slash right through it, which it did not do. It is encountering some resistance up here. And so it is prudent for us to kind of look and see what is going on. This is on the daily chart. If we look at the weekly chart, which is a better place to look in a lot of cases, we are getting a little bit of a red week. I really don't think this is anything to be that concerned about, but of course, we'll let the data tell us that, not some speculation. In terms of our whole moving averages, we are currently just barely holding support on the 20-week HMA. Yeah, this is the weekly. While we noticed that we have an incoming golden cross of the 50 and 100 week, we've been talking about this cross for a while. Ever since this death cross happened, we said there would very likely be a pump and then a dump. Are we experiencing a dump right now that could take us lower than maybe what I even thought on some of my past videos? Well, we'll get into that. But right now, the past few weeks, we've been just kind of ranging. So I don't think we can really say anything that conclusively just looking at the moving averages, other than this golden cross coming in does bode pretty well for getting what I consider to be the most important moving averages lined up. So the 20 will be above the 50, which will be above the 100, which will be above the 200. That's what we want to see. That's typically the precursor, or the precursor to mania moves, right? So that's something we should definitely keep in mind as we continue analyzing this chart. This is our 135-week linear regression channel. I look at this on my Twitter sometimes. So this goes all the way from May of 2022 to present. And you can see that we did break through the median line, which was at 74K back in November. And we are kind of rounding something out here at around 102,000. But the top of the channel right now is at 118K. So it's actually kind of good to see this rounding around and maybe coming back down. If we were to come back down to the median line, we actually did have a red zone that I had drawn between 84 and 88,000. Let's say we came down in January to this. I'm not saying this has to happen or is going to happen, but that would be a price of about 84K. So, if we want to ride the median line a little bit longer before going off to maybe 138K or something, that could still keep us within the boundaries of this linear regression channel. So that's just something to keep in mind. This is a logarithmic regression rainbow with 3 standard deviations in either direction from the orange mean. Each standard deviation is a blue dotted line that is either 1/2 plus or 1/2 minus away from the mean. Let's go ahead and zoom in and see where we're at with this. We've been following this ever since I started the channel. So these seem to be rounding out some kind of minor top here at, this 100,000 range, roughly speaking. If we were to extrapolate, once again, we're finding ourselves, we come down to this, let's say we want to retest the 0.5 log zone. That's around 87K or so. So again, my red zone, depending on when it happens, it's around 88K. So we could come back down and test the logarithmic structure at the 0.5. It's possible, could happen, right? Just keep that in mind. This is a logarithmic trend channel. We've looked at this. We haven't looked at this in a really, really long time. And you can see the median line is right here on this one, which is at around, back in March, it was around of 2022, $47,000. This increases with time. And it has 3 standard deviations in increments of 0.2. Each line is like +1, +2, +3. And you can see kind of what's been happening over time ever since the 2013 cycle. We've been going lower and lower on this channel. So, we hit the +2 back in December of 2013. We hit the plus 1.6 in December of 17. And then we hit the, what is that? The 0.4 or 0.6. Yeah, it looks like the 0.6. We hit that in April of 2021. And then we went even lower in the double top. We hit in November of 2021, we hit the 0.4. And so we've actually come below the zero standard deviation line, and we've just kind of been crabbing around here if you're looking at this on a logarithmic trend channel. And so where we find ourselves now is just barely above the -1. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in and see exactly where we're at. There's a 0.6 we hit in April. So we are at the -1. Yeah, the -1 is down here. This is the -0.8 up here. So if we were to come back down to the -1, that would correspond, depending on when we did it. Let's say we did it very soon. That would be about $88,000. Once again, there you see that price target. Maybe we come back and retest this and then just kind of grind our way back up. We already hit the -0.8 back in March. So if we were to hit that again in, let's say, like February, that would correspond to a price of about $135,000. If we were to make it to the -0.6, I'm having to do this math in my head. Let's say in September, October of 2025. No, that's not going to happen. Yeah. So yeah, because I mean, look, that puts our price at like 371,000. I don't think so. So if we were to hit the -0.8 again in, like, let's say October, that could potentially put price just around 260,000. So it's hard to say. I mean, if we were to hit the -1 in October of 2025, let's say that's a price of 182,000. I think somewhere in this region is probably potentially where our top could be. And that could just represent a crabbing around, honestly, in this channel as Bitcoin continues to work its way down the channel over the long run. So this is an interesting, the logarithmic trend channel is an interesting chart. When you zoom out at it, what you see happening is that we just go lower and lower on the trend channel every single time. So I think we're probably looking at a cycle top somewhere in between these two in 2025. These are the universal logarithmic growth curves, or logarithmic fibs, as I like to call them. And you can see we've hit the top of this channel every single cycle, although on the last one, we kind of distributed at the top of it. We still hit the top of it. So what would that look like this cycle? Will we get to the top? Well, right now we're hitting resistance at the 0.7639 fib. Look at how perfect that resistance is. And, I do think we will hit the 8541, and I think that's probably going to be an area of more resistance. And I've been anticipating sometime in February that would probably happen. And then maybe we come back down to the 7639 or something like that later in the year, or maybe even below it a little bit, and then blast off to the top line. That would get us to around 270, 240, 270K by the end of the year. So if we go to the top line, you can sort of imagine a path like that taking place. So we have three different metrics all kind of showing very similar things. Bollinger Bands are showing a clear breakout with a little bit of deviation away from the upper trend line. This happens sometimes. The median line of the Bollinger Bands is increasing with time. It is possible by the end of December that it would be around that $86,000 mark. Do we crab kind of our way down towards that with a little bit of a flag and then bounce? I mean, that's typically what happens when you ride this top line and you kind of move away from it. You do tend to move towards the median line. Okay, that's just what tends to happen, as you can see. If we look at past moves in bull markets, right, we would hit this median line, then come back down, and then rock it off again. So and we are seeing all the moving averages start to line up. You see here, you hit it, move over towards the median line, rock it up, move over. This is just what happens. We can't say exactly how it's going to happen, but I think we could just go flat out sideways. That is possible, or we could start to come down a little bit. There's no guarantee we even hit the median line, but I am, this does look bullish. We're having a breakout, so I think there's you're going to see a little curl around here, probably from this price action, maybe just kind of cooling off a little bit, and then rocketing back up, possibly by the end of the year, maybe early next year. Impossible to say exactly when, but all the superficial stuff definitely looks bullish. Let's take a look under the hood and see what's going on there. So I've got the stochastic oscillator right here in the middle. What it's showing is that we've reached some topping levels, and we're probably going to need to come down and take a dip. And the ASO has also gotten pretty high to about 74.14, which is not that far away from levels where we historically take a little bit of a dip. This does not look like the end of a bull market dip at all. It just looks like, a little bit of consolidation. We'll probably dip somewhere around the 80 level and then come right back up again. That's sort of my base case. It's really strong triple bottom on the stochastic oscillator. We're at very high levels for the ASO. So I'm not anticipating that this is going to roll over in a substantial way. Usually we, for major tops or more significant tops, we'll get up to a level of around 80, as you can see in the past. Those levels are typically what you hit when you are truly exhausted. We're getting there, though. We are getting to a place where a more substantial cooldown is likely to take place. So we should keep that in mind. I have said that I think sometime in Q1 or Q2, Bitcoin probably will have a bit of a cool off. And my base case has always been around $128,000, $132,000 would mark kind of a spot for a more significant top. And I don't think we're going to plunge into a bear market from there, though. I think there's still going to be more juice left in the cycle, potentially to take us all the way into Q3, Q4. Few more under the hood indicators. ADX and DI shows an increasing trend strength. We are now at a trend strength of 24.27, which is considered a strong trend. However, we did just put in a lower high on the green DI. So that is a bit concerning that there might not be a whole lot of juice left on this up leg before we have to consolidate some more. And you can sort of imagine a situation where the DI crosses the ADX, like what happened here in December of 2023. And that generally gets you in kind of the late stages of an uptrend. So it hasn't happened yet. So I mean, this could still move up and put in a higher high. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, it did happen here too, right? We got a higher high in March, but that marked the end of that uptrend. So, I don't think Bitcoin has more than another few months left of an uptrend before it has to cool off again. And I think you'll probably see something happen where the ADX looks like it's starting, usually the ADX will cross the DI, and that's kind of like, giving you a premonition that there's probably not a whole lot of time left. And but there could be, like it took till March of 2024 to put in that top on the green DI. So what's 4 months from December now is March of 2025. So I've been eyeing like the February timeframe for some kind of significant top. We'll see if that plays out. The 2-week or the weekly, not the 2-week, the weekly RCMO appears to have topped out at about 84.26. It is coming down. I do expect it to retest the green signal line and then come up again. That would probably correspond to a February top. And the true strength indicator is rolling over. So just starting the process of that. So I definitely think that, Bitcoin does have another bullish impulse leg left in it. But I think after that, it probably needs to cool off for a little while. So that's just kind of what I'm seeing from looking at these under the hood indicators. We can look at even more if you want. So I flipped on the wave trend analysis along with the parabolic SAR. I actually see an inflection happening in the SAR that is suggesting some kind of pullback is in progress right now. Maybe similar to what happened here in January of 2024, something like that playing out in December. And then I would anticipate there could be another parabolic leg that is less steep than this one that comes next that takes us, like I said, somewhere to the 120, 130K range. I can't predict an exact price target, but basically the 1.414 Fib. I also see the potential formation of a bearish divergence on the wave trend, suggesting this pullback is likely, maybe something like what happened here. So yeah, we are currently a bit overbought, and it looks like we need to cool off. You can even see this average line kind of coming down and getting ready to print some bearish divergence. So that is my expectation. I don't think Bitcoin is going to be rocketing off tomorrow, to like brand new highs to 130K, but I think it probably will sometime in January or February if I had to guess. And I mean, who knows how long this cool off will last? All I notice is that the SAR is inflecting, so that is a sign we should definitely respect. Current Bitcoin risk is 62.5. You can see the 60 risk level is $93,960.91. 50 risk is around 80K. We are at getting into the upper regions where we sort of expect to find a cycle top. I am thinking we'll make it all the way up here into this region around 80 to 100 risk. So currently 80 risk is at 130,000 and 100 risk is at 182,000. These targets will move up with time, of course. But could we be rounding out some kind? I think we are rounding out some kind of at least, minor top before maybe pushing higher up to this 80 level. I think the 80 level is where we'll find another significant intermediate top for the cycle. Just as significant as what happened in March. I think another one's coming at the beginning of the year. Could that be the cycle ending top? It could, but I don't think that it is. I think this is just a very long parabolic uptrend that will take us to the top of the channel by the end of the year in 2025. When I say end of the year, that could include like quarter three, like September, October. I consider that sort of like end of the year. So yeah, I mean, in terms of Bitcoin risk, it looks good right now, 62.42. Nothing to be concerned about as far as I'm concerned. Just doing a brief check-in on Bitcoin dominance. We did identify the 0.5 Fib at 54% as an area of potential reversal, and that is exactly what's happened. This is nothing more, in my opinion, than a dead cat bounce to the 618, which we've already gotten rejected at. So altcoin season is having a bit of a pause this week. That's okay. I think we're going back down, honestly. More altcoin season coming in January. So I wouldn't freak out about this. Just a typical beginning of a bear market. You know, you have your blow off top and then you come down. You're going to have probably a dead cat bounce to the 618. If that, I mean, it could have already happened, but maybe it'll happen. Maybe we'll get another week of this. I don't know. And then roll over again. You know, so I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to play out. I don't think we're going to rocket off to a new high for Bitcoin dominance. You know, to the top of this green zone. This looks very bearish. You know, and I'll get into more of a Bitcoin dominance analysis in an altcoin update video. Okay, so I think my next video will focus on the altcoin market and Ethereum. You know, I don't want to make this video any longer than it already is. So my concluding thoughts about Bitcoin are that we're in a bit of a prolonged cool down that could last for a couple weeks at most, probably on our next, heading into our secondary leg up that's going to take us into a more significant cool down. Will we have another bear flag cool down like what we had in early 2024 to the summer? I don't know. I think it might be a little bit more volatile than that, but who the heck knows? I just think that somewhere around 120 to 130K, it's really hard for me to pinpoint exactly where, but somewhere in that range, I think is going to mark a very significant top for Bitcoin before things kind of roll over again. And I think that it's likely to happen by the end of Q1 of 2025, if I had to guess. I do not think that's going to be the end of the cycle, but I think it will put us at about the 2/3 point in terms of where we are in the bull cycle lifespan. I still think the bull cycle will probably last all the way through the end of 2025. Like I said, somewhere September, October timeframe is what I'm kind of eyeing for a major cycle top at the moment. But who the heck, you know? Yeah, I'm talking like it's like a crystal ball, right? You know, I'm not an oracle. I don't have all the answers. I just present the data and my interpretation of it. Bitcoin definitely still has a lot of room to run, and we will not discount that. So this is just a normal part of a bull cycle. It feels a lot like 2017, but just dragged out, you know, just spread out, you know, and the moves are not as as volatile, and that's because Bitcoin is a more capitalized asset, experiencing diminishing volatility. So of course that's going to happen. Thank you for joining me on another wonderful episode of Crypto Simulation Theory, Bitcoin, the long game. I hope that you'll come back and join me for another one soon. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification icon and join us in our Telegram chat where we have 310 members just like you. Everything on this channel is completely free right now. And I've made a promise to keep things free of charge all the way through the end of this bull market cycle. So you have my word on that. All the way to the end of this cycle, you can get free alpha from Crypto Simulation Theory. All you got to do is just subscribe to this channel, join the Telegram chat, and we'll see you over there soon. All right. Until next time. Bye-bye.